This podcast is an invitation to feel and experience the souls of famous old Hollywood homes and to have an in-depth journey to the areas where they're located through interviews with longtime residents. Either you're a fan of old Hollywood in Los Angeles, planning to have a vacation, or, an even bigger step, considering a certain area for your future home. This is your opportunity to receive valuable information and insightful advice you won't find anywhere else.
Hello, and welcome to my podcast. Are you in the mood for California? Today we'll feel and experience Anaheim, featuring an interview with enchanting Ashley Ann.
Anaheim's history is extremely interesting to me as well. It's one of the oldest cities in Orange County. It was known for its mid-century modern 1950s architecture, which I'm super into and interested in just because I'm very interested in all things vintage. Mm-hmm. So I just love being surrounded by that. A lot of it has been torn down, but there's still remnants in the city that you can see of the beautiful architecture.
Masha Korpacheva is a California-based realtor and a member of the National Association of Realtors in Los Angeles. She's an advocate for selling and buying homes with soul and practicing mindfulness in real estate. With master's degrees in spiritual psychology and linguistics, Masha brings all of her skills to work with her clients. An intuit and empath, she has touched many lives with her outstanding ability to see beyond the visible and helping to come to better understanding of issues and their resolutions. An adventurous world traveler, from climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania to exploring the Galapagos Islands, Masha has a particular passion for the City of Angels. Having landed in this paradise and adopted it as her home, she's been sharing old Hollywood stories since 2007. In the mood for California, feel the soul of old Hollywood.
And now, are you ready to experience Anaheim? Anaheim, a name that today conjures images of roller coasters, fireworks, and fairy tales, began with a far more rustic and European dream. Long before Disneyland rose from the citrus groves, Anaheim was a small German colony devoted not to fantasy, but to the cultivation of wine. Founded in 1857 by 50 German families from San Francisco, Anaheim's original name came from Anna for the nearby Santa Ana River and Heim, the German word for home. These settlers, part of the Los Angeles Vineyard Society, had one primary goal: grow grapes and produce fine wines. And they succeeded for a while. By the 1880s, Anaheim was the wine capital of Southern California, shipping thousands of gallons to San Francisco and beyond. But a tiny pest changed everything. The phylloxera louse devastated Anaheim's vineyards. Just like that, the booming wine industry vanished. Resourceful as ever, residents replanted their lands with walnuts, lemons, and oranges, ushering in the citrus era that would define Orange County for decades. By the early 20th century, Anaheim had become a quiet agricultural town surrounded by groves, with a charming downtown and a close-knit community. It was the kind of place where Hollywood stars occasionally retreated for a breath of fresh air or a touch of anonymity. Anaheim's tranquility offered a contrast to the glitz and chaos of Los Angeles, only 30 miles away, but a world apart. And then, in 1955, a man named Walt Disney changed everything. Walt Disney had a vision, a place where parents and children could enjoy time together. A clean, beautiful, and immersive park unlike any carnival of the time. After scouting multiple locations, Disney chose Anaheim for its open land and proximity to Los Angeles. Locals were skeptical. Many thought the idea was too ambitious, even foolish. But on July 17, 1955, Disneyland opened its gates and history shifted. The opening was chaotic. Counterfeit tickets led to overcrowding. Rides broke down. Freshly poured asphalt stuck to high hills. But despite these hiccups, Disneyland was an instant phenomenon. It wasn't just a theme park, it was a cultural revolution. Suddenly, Anaheim was on the global map. The opening of Disneyland was a red carpet affair, literally. It was also a nationally televised event that blended the sparkle of Hollywood with Walt Disney's family-friendly vision. Co-hosted by Ronald Reagan, Art Linkletter, and Bob Cummings, the live broadcast introduced millions of Americans to the park. Stars like Fess Parker, fresh off his success as Davy Crockett, brought Disney's television magic to life. In choosing Anaheim, Walt Disney turned a quiet agricultural town into the backdrop of one of the most enduring cultural stories of the 20th century. As Disneyland grew, so did Anaheim. Hotels, restaurants, and freeways emerged to serve the millions of tourists flooding into the area each year. Anaheim's population exploded, transforming the town from sleepy citrus groves into a bustling city of dreams. Today, Anaheim is known not just for Disneyland, but also as the home of the Anaheim Ducks and the Los Angeles Angels. It's a diverse city where historic homes from the 1920s still stand, not far from glittering resorts and convention centers. You can walk through the Anaheim Packing House, a restored citrus packing facility turned food hall, and still sense the soul of the city's agricultural past. Yet, through all its changes, Anaheim retains a curious blend of old world charm and American imagination. It's a place where German winemakers dared to plant roots, where Hollywood stars once sought peace, and where Walt Disney built a kingdom. And here we are. Welcome to Anaheim. I'm absolutely delighted to have Ashley Ann here with me. Ashley Ann is a passionate curator of all things vintage. With a thriving Instagram community of 27,000 followers, she shares her love for vintage fashion, beauty, dancing, and lifestyle, bringing the glamour of bygone eras into the modern day. She also leads Ashley Ann and the Carnations, a dynamite swing jazz band that channels the golden age of Hollywood with a repertoire spanning 1920s, 1960s jazz, swing, bossa nova, Latin, and rock and roll. Known for their authentic vintage look, feel, and sound, the band is the resident act aboard the Queen Mary and performs regularly at iconic venues across Southern California, including Disneyland's Club 33, the Grand Californian Hotel, Chateau Marmont, the Hollywood Roosevelt, and Spago. Today, Ashley shares not only her journey and passion for all things vintage, but also what it's like to live in Anaheim, a city rooted in history, shaped by immigrant dreams and forever transformed by imagination. Hello, Ashley.
Hello.
Oh my God. I'm so delighted to have you as my guest on the podcast. I feel that you're an incredible, very special human being. And thank you so much for finding the time.
No, thank you. It was quite an honor to be asked. And I'm super excited to discuss everything.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Ashley, you're currently based in Anaheim, and it's a place that is often associated with nostalgia, fantasy, and maybe even a touch of magic. So, what is the vibe of Anaheim for you? How does it support and inspire the vintage lifestyle that you live so fully?
Well, Anaheim is quite a special place. You know, obviously, it's home to one of the best amusement parks, Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually performed there as well. So that's something that's really exciting and fun for me. But, Anaheim's history is extremely interesting to me as well. It's one of the oldest cities in Orange County. You know, it was known for its mid-century modern 1950s architecture, which I'm super into and interested in just because I'm very interested in all things vintage.
Mm-hmm.
So I just love being surrounded by that. A lot of it has been torn down, but there's still remnants in the city that you can see of the beautiful architecture. Also, I just love the environment there. You've got so many different things to do, so many different amusement parks. There's the Anaheim Meatpacking District. It's just very much a magical place. I mean, especially with Disneyland being there.
Mm-hmm.
But also it has so much beautiful history, being one of the oldest cities in Orange County.
Yes, very true. And what are some of your favorite places in Anaheim?
Yeah, I mean, I think I already kind of mentioned them. You can't go wrong with Disneyland and, downtown Disney and the Anaheim Meatpacking District. I feel like those are my favorite places to go and just enjoy, people watching, the atmosphere, the energy. Everyone's so excited to be in California. And, a lot of people visit Anaheim from other places. It's a hub because of Disneyland. So I think it's also really fun to see all the different types of people that come in and are enjoying,
Right. And you did mention that you like all sorts of vintage, and I already know this about you. Is there a fun vintage restaurant in Anaheim maybe that you can share?
Ooh, a vintage restaurant. I don't know if there's one specifically in Anaheim that's coming to mind. It's hard because a lot of the old restaurants didn't really make it to so I feel that like I'm always going, to places actually like probably in downtown Disney when I go there to eat. There isn't one that like specifically comes to mind.
Okay, that's fine. And well, let's get to your performance because listening to you perform with the Carnations feels like stepping through a time portal. Suddenly, like we are sipping martinis in 1962 or dancing in a 1940s ballroom. What does it take to create such an immersive atmosphere, and where do you draw the emotional energy to bring these eras to life?
Oh, that's such a good question. And that's very flattering. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you. I experienced it.
Well, I think I just have a lot of passion for the music. I think it all started back when I was a child. I was introduced to a beautiful 1930s film called The Wizard of Oz, and starring the beautiful Judy Garland. She sings that beautiful song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And I think that's where I first started really becoming interested in that style of all old Hollywood music, was when I was a kid watching that movie. And from there, it just became my love for that time period, and the music grew more and more as I started asking my parents to show me more old Hollywood MGM movies and started listening to some of the jazz greats like Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday. And Doris Day. And I think as I've grown older, I studied music in college as well. So I got to learn about different musicals. And I always kind of was interested in the vintage musicals. Mm-hmm. Then I started learning about the lives of the different singers from the day and just kind of fell in love. I think maybe I'm an old soul.
Yes.
And so I just felt I don't know why. I think maybe it comes from like a past life or something, but just started kind of learning about these old Hollywood singers and performers, watching a lot of old films. My favorite TV channel is TCM, Turner Classic Movies, a channel that's devoted to preserving and showing old films. So during COVID, I just was glued to that. And they also have a lot of little informational tidbits that they play in between the movies. And so I just started learning a lot about the time and just everything was so different. Like if you wanted to go out back in the day, you weren't just going to go, to a movie or something. You were going to, it was going to be an experience. You were going to see a whole musical show, or you would go and watch a live band, and they would actually, it would be performative. It was the music back then was such a huge form of entertainment for the public and a way of lifting spirits during hard times like World War II or even the Great Depression. Music was looked upon as a way of kind of escaping. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I kind of carry that into my performances today, where I try to think of my kind of carrying the torch, I guess. Mm-hmm. And using, my music to try to uplift people, because, there's times are tough and we could all use a little escapism. So that's what kind of inspires me, is just drawing upon what the old greats did and kind of trying to channel that myself. Like, I just really love what I do, but I really love sharing my music with other people and trying to lift people's spirits or touch them in some way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really what was happening back in the time. That's what music was doing for people. So
yes,
yeah,
true. And these days, while so many people are lost in social media and online, what you create is actually like this personal experience that you can go out and experience the music and people and dancing with other people, something that is becoming a luxury these days.
Yes, thank you. And I couldn't agree more. Like, I feel that it's harder and harder these days to kind of find community and have those experiences where you're in a group setting and, and it's something so magical with when I do those performances where there's dancing, because it's, we're all community together. We're dancing together. We're experiencing something together, and community is just so important. And something, like you said, with social media, the age of technology,
yes,
is easy to come by those human interactions. So I think that's something very special as well that I'm happy to kind of be a part of.
Yes. Thank you for doing that. We all appreciate it.
No, the pleasure is mine, honestly.
Ashley, well, you embody actually many decades, from Gatsby's glittering 1920s to the sultry allure of 1960s Vegas. So if you could live a full day in one of those time periods, which would you choose and why?
Yeah, this is obviously something I have thought about a lot. Such a hard choice to pick one, but I do have to say that if I could spend one day in one time period, it would definitely be in the 1940s. Mm-hmm. My favorite style of music is 1940s big band. So like music from like Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, like I just adore that style of music. And I would have loved to seen them perform live. So I think and also just that was the height of dancing, social dancing, going out and dancing to a live band. So I would have loved to have gone dancing and experienced that. And I love the clothing from that era as well. It's just so bold and beautiful and so empowering for women, and the big shoulder pads and the victory rolls and the red lipstick. That's just my favorite style of clothing.
Yes, I can tell.
So I think definitely like during the 1940s, going to spend a night, one of the jazz clubs, going to see, one of the jazz big bands perform, dancing. That would kind of be also going shopping in some of the big department stores.
That's right. Yes. Oh my God. That would be Klondike for you.
Shopping was just such an experience back then at department stores. I mean, they just had everything, and I see pictures and it's so luxurious, and just the clothing that was available was just insane. So I hope that that answered your question.
Yes, very much so. And that led me to my next question, because, clothing, as you mentioned at that time, besides being so beautiful and luxurious, it was also very feminine for women. And fashion and beauty are such an integral part of your presence, and not just costumes, but actually living art. So how do you approach vintage style as a form of self-expression, and how has it shaped your identity?
So during COVID, I became fascinated with vintage clothing, and I started to collect it. And I actually started an Instagram account. That was kind of my little hobby during COVID. We all had our COVID hobby.
Right.
So that was mine. And I would take photos and try to replicate whatever era I was representing as accurately as possible. And I started actually wearing vintage every day. Like I would go out and just be wearing my vintage just because it was fun. It was something during that time. It was, so isolated and you just so little to do. And that was something fun. I could just go out and take pictures or go to the store and get something in my vintage. And at first it was a little intimidating and embarrassing, to
to be so different. Yes.
Yeah. And people always are like looking at you and, oh, what are you wearing? Like, why are you dressed like that? But then I started to really actually enjoy it because it was an expression of who I am and what I love. And I felt very comfortable wearing that style of clothing. So I have a lot of items from like starting at the 1920s through maybe late 60s. And everything, not everything, but most everything that I own is true vintage, which I think is just crazy that I know that you can still wear and find clothes that are wearable from those times.
Wow, that tells you something about the quality.
Yes, absolutely. And, I'm very lucky to live where I live as well because, in other areas in the world, it's kind of harder to come by, but there's a lot of it in America, the vintage. So yeah. And I just, through the Instagram and just choosing to wear that clothing every day, I just felt really kind of empowered, not caring what people think and just, I feel comfortable in this. I feel good in this. And I feel kind of like a superhero, like in my clothes that are so different than what other people are wearing, but show like what I'm interested in. And it does kind of feel like, just like dressing up for the day. And, I learned all about the different hairstyles and the different types of how to style your makeup differently per each decade. It's very fascinating. It's very fun.
Wow. It sounds like you actually tapped into the essence of your own identity, because usually people who have it inside and then it takes them some time to tap into that and then to fully express it, as you had a chance to do during COVID, and now fully embrace and embody it. That must be, I guess, the happiest moment, when you can actually truly be yourself, even if it's a completely different person from everybody else.
It's 100%. I definitely still like wear modern clothing and like I'm not somebody who always wears vintage now, but it's really fun. It's almost like a little dress up party every time I go out to one of my gigs. Like or my performances, I get to choose what I'm wearing and do my hair the way that would fit the outfit best. And I just really enjoy it and love it. Just a little added perk to what I do.
Yes. And we sensed it, because you were absolutely expressing everything that you showed to us, like when you were singing, when you were performing. And I felt I was on a movie set. It was quite remarkable what you created. Yes.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Like, I love these experiences because, it's like traveling in time.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you felt that way. That means I'm doing my job right.
Yes. And then you perform regularly on the Queen Mary and at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. And that must be like holding court in Los Angeles's like most iconic time capsules. Do you ever feel the energy or maybe the ghosts of the past when you perform in these places?
100%. Like, especially in the Queen Mary, when I first started performing there, I just felt like, I'm not sure that I really believe in ghosts or anything like that, but I definitely felt like this like energy of like, oh my gosh, there have been so many like famous people on this boat or people that have performed on this boat. And I'm like literally standing in the same room, like singing. And that's like a crazy feeling. Like when you have somebody you look up to or an idol or something, and then imagine like you get to do the same thing that they did, 80 years later, 70 years later. It's just like an incredible feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've definitely felt that energy on the Queen Mary, and also just thinking about all of just the people that who have stayed there and who have traveled there. I mean,
Yes.
it's kind of incredible. Like Audrey Hepburn traveled on the Queen Mary, Ella Fitzgerald traveled on the Queen Mary, so many others that, I'm just like, wow, like this is just insane that I get to perform here. And in the Hollywood Roosevelt, I mean, that was such an amazing experience as well, getting to perform there. And, Marilyn Monroe that was one of the places that she loved to stay.
Yes, yes, there was a haunted mirror.
Yeah. And I believe that the first Oscars were held there as well. So that's kind of a really cool thing as well, to just think about the history. And I have thought about that when I'm singing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, there's so much history in this room and I get to kind of be a part of that. And definitely I can feel the energy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is very special. And so when you curate your show, how do you decide which decade to lean into? And how much storytelling goes into your set design, fashion, and song choices? Because, again, your interest in music spans from like 1920s all the way to like 1960s. So how do you choose which exact decade to focus on a particular night?
Yeah, a lot of times a couple different factors. Of course, whoever's hiring me, I ask them what style of music they're looking for. So they'll usually give me direction. If they don't give me direction, then I try to gauge it off of the location and also the clientele.
Mm-hmm.
When I was performing the Hollywood Roosevelt, I normally would stick to music from the 20s through 40s because of how, old the building is, and that kind of seemed to fit the vibe there the best.
Yes.
But at the Queen Mary, it was very interesting because, the Queen Mary, it's definitely an older ship, but the clientele there, a lot of them enjoy all styles of music. And I really found that when I would also play my 1950s rock and roll songs or my Latin song, that they really enjoyed that as well. So we came up with a formula where the first half of the performance is more of like the classic jazz, and then kind of transitioning into 40s, more like big band sound. And then the last set is usually like rock and roll and Latin, and everyone's having a party and going crazy. And we found that that's a good formula there, and the patrons really enjoy that.
Oh.
A lot of times I'm reading the room. Okay, like, oh, these people got up and danced when I played Papa Loves Mambo. Okay, that's great. Or, these people really loved it when I played, Rock Around the Clock. Okay, let's do more rock and roll. Or you kind of can gauge it. It's almost like being a DJ in a sense.
That's so fun. And you must be really in tune with what's going around you to be able to read the audience so well.
Yes, I'm trying to kind of be in tune with what reaction I'm getting from the audience and the crowd. Are people applauding? Are people paying attention? What songs are they enjoying the most, so that we can build like the best experience possible?
That's fun. That is super fun. Ashley, is there a vintage muse for you? Maybe a singer or an actress, or maybe even an icon whose spirit you carry with you on stage? Maybe someone that you feel especially connected to when you're performing?
Yeah, I feel like there's maybe a couple that come to mind. But I guess the one that really stands to me is a beautiful singer. She's not as famous as she probably deserves to be, but her name is Lena Horne. And she was a singer in the 1940s, and she's most commonly remembered for singing Stormy Weather.
Mm-hmm.
And I really became interested in her because we actually share a lot of the same, like, she's half Black and I'm also half Black. So I don't know, I kind of was like, that's really interesting to me that she was a half Black singer back in that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started kind of doing some research on her and her life. And she was just such a interesting individual, and especially being a half Black person back then was difficult because they didn't really know what to do with you back then.
Yes, that was a very difficult time. That's so true.
Mm-hmm. So it was like, okay, where do we put this person? And she ended up being used as a singer in a lot of MGM movies, and she's absolutely fabulous. And it took a lot of courage for her as well, because of, she was being kind of thrown around. They didn't know what to do with her. And she was like, I'm just going to stand in who I am. And I'm going to just be confident and commit. And I just love listening to her sing. And it's also interesting too, because she kind of looks a lot like me as well.
Interesting. Maybe you were Lena Horne in your past life.
I don't know, but she's such a beautiful, passionate, beautiful singer. If whoever's listening to this has not heard her, look her up on YouTube. She is absolutely phenomenal, gorgeous. She was also an actress, but because of her race, she wasn't able to act as much as she would have liked to. But she was a big spokesperson for women and all that. She was singing for so many years, even to her old age. And I don't know, she's just very inspiring to me. And I just love that song, Stormy Weather. I sing that song. And I think she's definitely the person that I think about the most.
Oh, beautiful. So you're preserving her memory in a way.
I'm trying.
So, Ashley, finally, my question to you is, what legacy do you hope to leave behind through your music, fashion, and your lifestyle? When people think of Ashley Ann and the Carnations decades from now, what feeling do you hope they'll remember?
Well, I hope that, the legacy I can leave behind is maybe a couple things. Being able to preserve one of the best times for music, in my opinion. And so people can, and a lot of people my age don't really know, the difference between 1920s music and 1950s music. So I hope that I can kind of spread the knowledge and educate people about, if they're interested in me and my singing, that they would kind of become a little bit more acquainted with the music and the song. So, and kind of just keep that alive. So I hope that that's something I could do. And, but also just being true to your identity and yourself. Just some people might feel self-conscious, whatever they're into, whatever niche or thing that they feel like they identify with, and just being true to yourself and accepting yourself and not being afraid to live in what you feel is you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, this music is definitely not what's popular today. And I love modern music as well, but I think standing by what you are interested in and just being authentic is so important. And it's just honestly makes me so happy to sing this music and keep it alive. And so just being true to what you are interested in and what you love, and not caring, oh, is this the most popular thing? Just embracing what you love and sharing that with others, I think, is something that I would love to be remembered for.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Ashley, thank you so much for sharing your heart, sharing your joy, and being so genuine and authentic, because everybody who was at that performance on Friday sensed it. And I cannot wait to experience more of it, because, once a person decides to be who they are, in some way they allow others to be themselves as well. And, just the way it works is like a ripple effect. And thank you also for preserving and keeping alive our favorite old Hollywood and the culture that was so vibrant and so, special and beautiful and inspiring. So thank you for keeping this alive, and thank you for being who you are. We all appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much. And this has been such a pleasure to be able to be a guest on your beautiful podcast. And I'm just so happy that you asked me. And this has been quite a great experience. So thank you.
Yes. And I cannot wait to experience your next performance, whether it's at Queen Mary or at Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. Until next time.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you very much for tuning in to Feel and Experience Anaheim with my special guest, Ashley Ann. If you enjoy my podcast, In the Mood for California, please sign up for future episodes at your preferred platform, and please leave your feedback. I really appreciate your time and support. You can follow me on Instagram at In the Mood for California, and check out my website, www.inthemoodforcalifornia.com. Selling and buying homes with soul is not just my real estate strategy. It's an intuitive and holistic approach that embraces your values, aspirations, and conscious intentions. If you want to discover the power of mindfulness in your real estate journey with my compassionate guidance, I'm here for you. Next time, we'll wander into a place where imaginative soul meets ocean breeze. Venice, California. Known for its colorful boardwalk and eclectic energy, there is another side to this iconic beach town. One that lingers in weathered facades, hand-painted signs, and golden hour light reflecting off the canals. It's where time stretches just enough for creativity to breathe and inspiration to bloom. I just cannot wait to meet you there.
In the mood for California, feel the soul of Old Hollywood.